Funny enough, I've got the Herald advertised, but it's not overly happy starting this morning. My theory at this stage is that the carb may have been upjetted for that pod filter, right? I think I don't like the idea of someone buying a bike and having trouble starting it. I think I'm going to just buy a new CG carb and put it on. Look, I don't like that. Choke on. It doesn't seem to like choke on, which is what leads me to believe that the jetting's not right. I'm going to order a CG carb. They're like 20 quid. They've never failed me. I'm gonna do that. I don't like the idea of putting something out there and it not being right. So that's my task. Online now, CG carb. I'll have that for next weekend. I don't know if to drop the advert or not, actually. I'm not sure. I'll have a think about it. The other thing I could do is take this carb off. I mean, I've had this carb off. I would have cleaned it. Yes, we saw me clean this carb. And the jetting, actually, the jetting was 95, wasn't it, the main? And then someone wrote on the comments that it should be 85. So actually, it is jetted 10 above. That's right. Yeah, I might just throw on a brand new CG carb for 20 quid. It's not even worth messing with jets. I've got some, but what's the point messing? Alright, cool. I do want to get it warm though, just to circulate the oil. Okay, so here we are. Let's have a look at what I've been looking into. First thing I'm gonna really check though is the air filter, make sure it's clean. Other than that, this is what I've been looking into. There's a system on bikes, on newer bikes, and it's this system here. And it's a bit of a massively over-engineered thing, but ultimately a fuel tank has vapors in it. Okay, yeah, it has fuel vapor, and that's why there's always air release. Otherwise it would just blow up and swell and explode, right? So at some point in motorcycling history in recent years, someone decided the vapors coming out and going into the air was a hugely bad thing. Now I don't know if it is or not, but I know that bikes for many years didn't have a system to capture them. It kind of didn't really matter. And nowadays it's decided that they're going to take them vapors using suction systems and lines like this, and this canister that has an element in there, I can't remember what it is, it might have been some sort of carbon, and the carbon soaks up the system and then sends it back somewhere, which this hasn't got that anyway. Right at the moment the gas vapors are going to here and probably getting blocked in that element, probably getting blocked, and then that's coming back and having some sort of effect on this engine, or the opposite, and we need the extra bit of flow to keep this engine idling appropriately. So I you know, at this stage it says online, people say remove the whole system and block off the suction, you'll be fine. Other people say you can't do that, you won't be fine. Look at this, what have I just found here? That don't go through, does it? Is that a bloody hole into the... If that's a hole into the intake, then we found our problem. Oh my god, we've got an open hole into the intake. So instead of it sucking in this much air through here, it's also sucking in that. I think we found the problem. Let me get that blocked off. I'll get a piece of tube on there. I think that's the problem. And then I'm going to leave everything else as it is and see what happens. But you can't have an extra hole that size going into a fuel injected bike. It doesn't like changes. It won't adapt enough for that. So my guess is blocking that off will solve the issue, but let's do it and check. So I've blocked that off. I've just put a big screw through it, but not a long one that goes into there, short one. That's blocked. A bit of tape just to double. This suction line is blocked off. That's coming from the throttle body, so I need to just be sure that that needs to be blocked off. Otherwise it was going up here and into this system, which bugs me. I want anything from that system capped off. And then the second one from this system was going down into here, so I've of course capped that off. My guess is that the line, the fat line here, a line went round there, round and on to the end piece here that I capped off. That's my guess. So let me throw the tank back on. Now this one here then, this one here is one of these. No, these are fine. These both go in. It's the suction line now that I don't need to connect. Well, or I just connect. Where is the suction line? Right, hang on. One there, one there. Suction line. Where would that have come from? It would have come from the bottle. See, this is what I mean. I don't even think anything was actually did there. It wasn't a circuit, right? It wasn't connected. So fuel. This is a filter. It's going the right way. That's a good start. All right, let me chuck this tank back on. This, in my head, this should idle because that extra hole was wrong. It was just sucking in so much air. So in my head, this should idle now, but you just don't know with this stuff. Let me throw that tank on. I'll just chuck it on loose, and we'll fire up. I'll get the stand, put you on the stand. So that's all done to an extent. To an extent, it's all done. I don't actually know what's going to happen here, so it probably should fire up. It probably should idle because I think it had an open circuit. Well, it had more than one, didn't it? It had that one, that big one, huge one there, which is too big because we're doubling the air intake there, way too much. It'd be like putting in an open air box or pods. It just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't run because the computer won't adapt for that. And then on top of that, we had a suction systems that weren't really sucking anything or working, kind of. So I don't know. Let's press the button. Let's see. I can't remember where we left this. I don't know if it has battery. Let's just see what it does. Fuel pump. It's good. Let's prime it a couple of times because I did have it upside down. Get that fuel primed. That pump is still feels now like I can hold the revs at a low stage there. Feels now like I might be able to adjust the idle using the screw now. I adjusted the idle there, but it's a more sensible adjustment. It's not too high or too low. We're about 2.5 minutes consistent idle now. The problem is when it kind of gets its stride, it's okay. It's when I'm throttle flicking that it seems to be a bit iffy. But I'm going to let it get to temp and see how it sits.